I've been asked a lot lately how I keep my energy high throughout the day. I have a few different responses to this question. One has to do with inputs, and the other involves what you don't see. Hi, welcome to the Connect with Sheila Botello podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, health coach, mentor, and creator of the Seasons self-care app. I'm committed to helping you connect to your purpose, elevate your well-being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. And it is Q&A day on the podcast. Today is all about creating consistent energy so you can thrive. I've been asked a lot lately about how I keep my energy high throughout the day. And I have a few different responses to this question. And one has to do with inputs. The other has to do with things that you don't see. And first of all, I'm going to say to you that like everyone else, my energy ebbs and flows for sure. And the other side of it is that I have over the years cultivated my best energy as well. It has been an intention of mine to create consistent energy, to be able to do all of the different things that I love to do. As I've mentioned before, I am a manifesting generator 1-3 in human design. If you know anything about human design, and I've had podcasts about it, so you can go back and listen. And that means it's kind of an energetic design. It is what I mean by energetic, like we all are energetic beings, but what I mean is there is something to do with being in motion in this particular design. And so with that in mind, I've needed to really spend some time thinking about and really practicing different things to help me feel good throughout the day, doing varied tasks, being around certain people, going places, creating things, and just growing in my life overall. And like this involves me on my own. And it involves me when I go places, but also involves, how maybe I show up in my home and the energy and the vibe in the home as well. And so it's very, very multifaceted, as I mentioned. So I'm hoping this Q&A today will give you some ideas to play with and some questions to really identify what might be most effective for cultivating your own personal vibe, because that is the key. Identifying what consistent energy is for you. When you're priming yourself for a certain type of energy, you need to look at so many different things. The first thing is, what is your life made up of? What different activities, which different people, and what type of time frame that you look at each day, each week, each month. These are things you need to take into consideration when you're considering what you need to do for you, because you may find that you have a more steady kind of energy, one where you are conserving your energy more, one where you are more inward perhaps, and you really savor that time to yourself so that when you are with other people, you need to build up the energy. Or you may be someone who is just really always ready to connect, always ready to talk to different people and do different things. Like those are two different feels, and they're both completely wonderful. It just depends on what is your own personal vibe. And so I wanted to talk about it today because like I said, I've been having questions about it, but also it's been a very interesting journey over the last decade as I have really dove into cyclical self-care, which is really the foundation of my work in well-being and in coaching and mentoring women in going after their goals in their life as well. It really all starts with our energy, right? And so our energy ebbs and flows, especially as feminine beings, because if we're cycling with the moon or if we're cycling in our bodies, every week is different. Every month is different. And it's beautiful because we get to vibe with that. In my Season Self-Care app, I actually have a cyclical self-care primer that you can go and check out. And it talks about this very thing. So that's the first place I'm going to direct you to. And really knowing this about yourself helps you have a lot more grace on yourself as you're going about your day and as you're maybe looking at what everybody else is doing around you. This time of year, some people are ready to rock and they're just going hard after whatever it is they've planned for their lives and their businesses. And then others are wanting to feel like they want to ease into the year and feel a little slower. And that's often been the way that I've done things each year. And it changes, I find. It changes. This year, I feel like I have a higher energy vibe entering into the year. And it's all good because it's whatever works for you. It's wherever you find yourself at. But how do you prime yourself? How do you get yourself to the place where you actually can start to elevate your energy to a place where you feel comfortable? And the reason why this is important is because so often life gets busy and everyone else's needs take over, and we can just find ourselves going through the motions and not really coming up for air and feeling like we're depleted. It's very, very easy to get depleted, especially if you are running an online business, if you're running a business of any kind, if you are running a family, that sounds funny. If you are leading a family, loving on your family, that all takes energy. Any kind of relationship you're in, especially a relationship with yourself, right? Like making that time to do those things to nourish yourself so that you can fulfill your purpose in the world and perhaps even nourish others along the way, I'm hoping, that all takes energy. And so some things that I have done to prime myself over the years, it's really changed. Again, it all is seasons, which is why I love the concept of bringing seasons into wellness. I mean, really, I don't know if I'm really bringing it in. I think it's just always been the case. I'm just identifying with it. Every season you might feel a little different because of the energy in the air, in the weather, in the feeling around you, whether it's in your workplace or your home life, or even just your community. And then also the season of life that you are in personally, whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, you're heading maybe into your wisdom years and your energy is different. You might find your energy starting to ramp up at that phase. That is what I have found for myself. Or you might feel some depletion coming on because you're taking on a lot. So these are all things that I find very, very powerful when we can come together and address them individually. And so I wanted to give you a few guiding questions for you to identify what might be most effective for cultivating your own personal vibe. First, I'm just going to give you a couple of ideas of some things that I personally do, and they've shifted over the years. There have been times where I have gotten up first thing in the morning and like I went through a season where I would get up and I would have some water and then I would just go for a 5K run or a 3K run first thing in the morning, like 4 or 5 times a week. And that gave me limitless energy. And then there came a time where it was starting to feel depleting. So I ended up shifting over to a HIIT workout, high intensity interval training workout. And then I actually found myself wanting to really slow down and start taking walks in the morning, not super early, allowing myself to get additional rest, building in a walk at some point in the morning, and if not, at lunchtime. But always at the start of the day was having hydration. And it began with just a lot of water first thing in the morning, so like a liter of water. And then it became lemon water. This was probably about 10, 12 years ago that I started drinking lemon water every morning. And so currently my routine, I'll tell you, with my liquids in the morning is I will get up and have about 8 to 10 ounces of just plain water while I'm just, getting dressed. I love to just brush my teeth, have some water right away because it really wakes me up and it feels so good. I find my body craves it. And then when I get down into the kitchen, I have 24 ounces of lemon water. So like I take half a lemon and I squeeze it into 24 ounces of water. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it probably is for a lot of people. I've just gotten so used to drinking a lot of water in the morning that my body craves it and it doesn't feel like anything to me. So I do that. And then I go bouncing on my rebounder for 15 minutes and I listen to affirmations or prayers or really good music that vibes me up. And often I'll do that with my red light on. I have a little Kala red light. And they don't sponsor me, but like that's the one I use. It's from Canada. So you can go check it out, Kala. And then I will spend some time I'll take a peek at some of my goals that I have for my life. And usually what I've done in recent seasons is it's a recording that I listen to of what I'd like my next 5 years to look like. Just a little snapshot of a day in the life of me. And it's set to music and it feels really good. And I will do some prayer time. And like all of this doesn't take very long. That's the thing. It's like literally I'll meditate. I will do some prayer time and some affirmations. And like it's 15, 20 minutes tops. Sometimes if I can indulge in longer, I will. And then I'm ready for the day. But it's usually some combination of these things first thing in the morning. And that sets my vibe for the day. The energy that ensues from that, it's kind of blown my own mind sometimes when I feel like, okay, I'm probably going to be really tired today, but it all just kind of clicks in. And I'm wondering if it's new neural pathways that are being built from me just practicing this over time, or my body just snapping into this mode. But also, it actually all begins the night before, and that is sleep. Getting enough sleep, getting good quality sleep, getting to bed early enough, having a bedtime routine of just, slowing down, maybe having just very dim light on, perhaps the red light in the room, maybe journaling a little if I feel like it, just really feeling relaxed. And that allows for some good sleep. And I've had my turbulent times with sleep, like a lot of people, especially entering many perimenopausal years. But I really dialed in on some practices to help me with that, which I can go into on another episode. But those are some of the things that I do. And so here are some questions just to keep this fairly short for you. For you to identify what will be most effective to cultivate your own personal vibe, I would say, are you getting enough sleep at night? Do you feel like literally ask yourself these questions? Could you go to bed half an hour earlier or even 15 minutes at a time earlier until you got enough sleep? Have you ever identified how much sleep is good for you by going to sleep at a decent hour and then just letting yourself wake up naturally on the weekend, for instance, and not setting a clock and not having any plans or anywhere to go? So you see when you naturally wake up. That is a good indicator for knowing how much time you should allot for sleep. So that's very important. How much sleep are you getting? How much hydration are you getting, and of what kind? Like, what are you starting your day with? Are you starting it with a cup of coffee? And now, I'm not a coffee drinker. I've just recently started drinking matcha tea. I've been a green tea drinker. I'd have it mid-morning for many years. And my husband gifted me with a beautiful, authentic matcha set from Japan for Christmas. And it's so, so good. So now he's got me hooked. And I know matcha is not for everyone, right? And my husband is a big coffee person. He's like, oh, I'm going to try this matcha. It's going to be great. He did not like it. So he's going to stick with his morning coffee. But here's the thing. Start with water, start with lemon water, and then move on to coffee if you must. Like if you enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with having a cup of coffee. I think it really depends on how your adrenals are, how you're really doing internally that way. And those are some things you can check out, but, and how is your digestion and all those kinds of things. But ultimately get enough rest, get enough hydration, and try to start your day with water instead of coffee, and then ease your way into coffee if you must, because I understand coffee is one of the great joys for so many people, and I don't want to take it away from you. I don't want to be the one to do that to you. Or maybe try a tea. I don't know. There's lots of things you can do, but start with that water. And then these are things that you can do. Like these are the inputs, right? Think about movement. Move your body in whatever way feels good, whether it's dancing, whether it's bouncing, whether it's walking. For a long time, it was an early morning walk for me. And in the winter, I find it harder to do that. I will go out more midday. So that's why the bouncing is really helpful for me. I love to earth, like standing barefoot on the grass when there's grass in my town. But then there's the other stuff. And it involves what you don't see. And I alluded to it when I talked about meditation and prayer. And I really believe it's finding that inner and personal spiritual practice for you to be able to tune into yourself each day. First thing in the morning, like before your eyes are even open, just having some form of connection to your soul, to creator, to source, that really makes you remember who you are before you get out of bed in the morning and what kind of imprint on this world that you want to make. And then the same thing at night. Like, let it be the first thing you think of in the morning and the last thing that you think of during the day, because then you're more likely to remember throughout the day, wait, who am I? How do I want to show up? What memories do I want to have of how I behaved in this life? Who do I want to heal and help feel whole? Like, I mean, we can't heal people, but you know what I'm saying? Like, who do I want to be an encouragement to in my family or in my life or in my community, in my workplace? And those are the things that you don't see. And a spiritual practice is a beautiful thing because it really brings everything together. It's where it all begins and ends. And that can be the very thing I have found in my own personal experience, and have seen it in many other people, that spiritual practice can really connect you to those inputs that you're doing that are healthy for you, because they add a deeper meaning to why you're doing them. Okay, why am I going to go work out? Why am I going to stretch my body? Why am I going to actually click off Netflix and go to bed now, even though, oh my gosh, what's going to happen on the next episode? Right? It's your spiritual practice that will remind you. And I think lastly, have grace on yourself. I say that a lot, but I think we need to laugh more and give ourselves some grace, because this human experience is a trip and we just never know what we're going to get. And so we got to laugh at ourselves. We got to know, hey, we are doing our best. And sometimes it's not going to look exactly how we want. Actually, a lot of the time, it's not going to look exactly how we want it to look. So give yourself some grace and allow yourself some space to just try things and for them not to work out. And just remember, you're on this journey, and every step you take is taking you closer to the truest sense of who you are. And I'm on this journey with you, and I'm thrilled to be doing that. So I hope this episode has been helpful for you. I hope it's giving you some ideas to play with. And, feel free to reach out, let me know what resonates for you. And I'd love to hear what some of your practices are. So feel free to DM me at Sheila A. Botelho all over socials. I love to be on Instagram, but I'm other places too. And one other thing is I'm taking listener questions to address for future Q&A episodes. So please email me at hello@SheilaBotelho.com with your questions about living your purpose, reaching higher in your career or business while caring for your well-being, nurturing relationships, creating and sustaining empowering boundaries, or anything that really fits into that self-care and purpose conversation. I'd love to hear from you. So feel free, again, hello@SheilaBotelho.com, and I will address them. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and share it with a friend. It means so much to me that you listen to these episodes. And when you're rating, reviewing, or sharing, it really helps the message of living a life of more connection get out to others. So thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the Seasons app. Go on into the primer. It's in the show notes. And I wish you a beautiful week. Big blessings.